So question is, where do we feel lost, or what?
Yeah.
I don't know if I feel lost in anywhere, but what I feel, what the uncertainty is me being able to create content around the stuff that I want to create content around. So that, I just moved into a new house. The house is not the most tidy at the moment. So like me filming, you'll see people filming and it's like, oh, they're filming in a really nice area. That's not my house right now. My house is, it's
in one corner.
It's a big house. It's actually a really big house, but there is clutter in many different areas of the house. So you kind of struggle with where to create your content. You kind of struggle with kind of where to set up the tripod. I kind of struggle with going from the transition from where, when I first started, which was just posting a ton of, exercises that actually intrigued you, posting like 8 to 10 exercises, but not really getting the clients I want, to now, how do I transition from here? And that's just me making excuses. I think like, oh, I can't create content around 4 different habit hacks that I actually do in my life and just set up my tripod in different areas and just film it, right?
Okay.
There's really not an excuse for it. It's just that I haven't done it before. So it's really just kind of like forcing my hand to be like, oh, well, I need to create exercises around literally what I do in the bathroom. Just set up my tripod in the bathroom and just do what I do, right? Just to show people who I am as a person, and they can identify as like, oh, I either don't want to be that or I want to be that, right? And so I'm going to start detracting people and then start attracting people. So yeah, I guess just transition from just talking to the parents and then creating content specifically for parents. I've already transitioned to like speak to them copy wise, but as far as just building out content around the stuff that I want to build out content around, like Instagram and Facebook, and putting out stuff about habits and wellness, there is some difficulty, more so around content creation, if anything.
Okay. So just back to the kind of creating the day in the life type content that you were talking about. What are the obstacles to you doing that? I know you mentioned clutter, which I would like to point out that parents would identify with clutter quite a lot.
That's kind of true.
Because my house is very cluttered because I'm a parent. There's kids stuff everywhere. There's like tins and stuff everywhere because I have to grab stuff to cook or whatever.
Yep.
And I think, like, to me, when I as a parent see stuff on Instagram that's like real, I identify with it and appreciate much more than seeing like some really primped person who looks amazing and their bedroom is all white and it's cream and white and fluffy and house plants and it looks perfect, because my life doesn't look like that. So I can't see myself identifying with whatever that person is trying to sell me. So I get what you're saying, because I would also, and do also, like I posted a picture earlier of this stuff that I got delivered, and so I cleared off that section of the table, and then this section of the table is like a complete mess that no one can see. So we all kind of do it, but I think if you try not to over stylize stuff, it's actually more effective because people can see themselves in it, and that's the kind of person that you're trying to reach. And kind of just talking about that as well, like, oh, I was going to record a workout here, but this is what's here instead, and it's just all of Trey's stuff and his little play pen and all that kind of stuff. I think that would be really quite useful. Apart from that, what else? What other obstacles do you have day to day, hour to hour, that's preventing you from doing that?
Well, it almost seems like you're alluding to it already. You're like day to day, hour to hour, and it's like, well, it's like if you're building out just multiple sectors of the business and then creating programs for people, which I spent a lot of time on, and then getting onto coaching calls, and then still balancing out, like it's a non-negotiable me to still exercise, then what often gets left off the table is the stuff that you're often most uncomfortable about. Like,
Yeah.
if you wanted to run, but you have an aversion or fear towards running, then you're going to prioritize taking care of your kids, taking care of your digital marketing agency, taking care of literally everything else under the sun, washing your dishes, cleaning your rear end, right? And you're going to do everything in your power to do stuff that you're comfortable with, and then avoid the uncomfortable stuff, which is running. So that's where like there really is no excuse at times where I can't just set out a block.
So are you saying that you're uncomfortable with the idea of doing it? Is that what you're
No,
saying?
not uncomfortable. Maybe I'm just like, oh, well, like, man, it just takes too long, right? Or like just takes too long, or
It's long.
yeah, content creation is just like, wow, like me creating, and maybe there is some uncertainty there, right? Like, oh, it took me one day, like the editing. For some reason, Android phones suck with Instagram sometimes. Like it'll cut off the last couple seconds of the audio. It cut off one of my words. It didn't save my reel. It's really annoying. It's like Instagram is still, I feel like, highly more optimized for Apple phones, which is horrible, because then my reels look really bad, like towards the beginning or towards the end, because they're not optimizing for Android. So that's the annoying part, is sometimes I create a reel and it'll literally like cut off one of my words, or it'll make this text that says Carly Brown. It'll look really nice when you're making it, and then when you post it, your Carly Brown is like a little small 8 font, and it's like on the bottom left, and it's just like, I did not create that. So it's just very annoying. And again, no excuse, right? It's just I've found workarounds to like save it first, look at how it looks like, then I have to like redo the words, redo everything. So it takes me like 40 minutes sometimes to create an entire 5-second reel. I'm like, well, imagine a 1-minute reel, how that would be. And so I'm trying to still find I guess that's why I did Insta Club Hub, which actually I did it maybe twice this week. It's like, how do you find the time to still Insta Club Hub? I got to buckle down and just learn how to create better content, and I got to do this YouTube thing, and then still be able to balance out all this other stuff in the business, which is a little tough.
So I'm thinking I have my Dr. J habits brain on, and I'm thinking, how can we make some of that process a bit more automated and more automatic? So considering, it's not, obviously you're not going to post the same content every day, but I'm thinking, considering there's those obstacles in the way physically and kind of technically, why not just kind of, as a starting point, as you're going about your day, not having content creation as the focus, but creating content at the same time. So when you're kind of sat at the desk creating programs or on calls, set up your camera and just record yourself doing it. And then at the end of the day, you have like a bank of stuff that you can cut up or chop or put into any kind of reel that you want, really, because it's not, it doesn't necessarily have a topic, but you can frame it how you want on like whatever reel you want. So that's kind of just one idea. Just off
you're talking about filming. You're talking about just build out a folder that has just day-to-day stuff in it.
Yeah, and just kind of just like, you're not acting on it, just do what you normally do.
You know what I should do?
Yeah, because then people can, not all dads and not all moms work from home, but the kind of people that you are trying to reach would identify, I think, a bit more with the kind of working habits that me and you have, where it's not like 9 to 5, but it is intense, and it's kind of like we never really switch off. because we're in our work all the time. So I think people would identify with that, whether, you know, whatever your day looks like. And because you're a dad, and seeing Trey is a big part of your day, even if you're not on dad duty that day. So yeah, I think that's a good starting point. At least you'll have like a bank of stuff that you can use that is relatable and identifiable,
So can I show you
without
something?
being posed or staged or anything like that.
So I'll show you something really quick then of what I do.
Okay.
Because you know I'm a very Google person.
Mhm.
Google, Android, and never Apple. I
Yes.
tried. It's hard. So I can invite you to this album.
Okay.
This album, I just called it Reels and Social Posts. So this is just a compilation of many different types of posts that I've done in the past. You can see that some of the ones with words in it is a reel I've done before. And then I've also been filming reels that don't have the caption. You can see that.
Yeah, so you can reuse it for something else.
So I can reuse it. Although the mistake I made a couple times, which it needs to be part of the SOP, is like, so if I can click on it, I don't know why I can't click on it. Oh, that's because I'm editing. So like this one, for example. So there's a place where, oh yeah, you can say something, and then you can add in the real audio. So that way your reel is not if I just posted it, it would just be called an original Flex with Dr. J audio.
Yeah.
If I wanted to try to get some traction with other people that have used the same audio, then you would actually put in the real audio here. So that way I can click on that audio and then I can assign it with this, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a system.
Yeah, so I have to like add it. So I don't know if I gave you access to Carly at carlyb.co.uk, if you can have access and then be able to edit or add things.
Okay.
Another one that I have, let me see if I can go to it. I don't know, I can't. Okay, let me just do this. It's another thing that I do. I just took pictures of Trey today. Yep. So I have an album with Trey, which I add in like a ton of stuff, obviously. So there's all his stuff from like before he was even born to like when he was born. And then that album, so that I can just like repurpose, you know, me as a parent, right?
Yeah.
And then I have FWDJ legs. So that's like leg workouts, like anything related to legs. I have FWGJ upper body. I have FWGJ, I think spine. Oh yeah, so it's like anything related to neck, upper back, and lower back. So I have all those albums too.
Okay.
So that's how I've been kind of organizing things, just because Google's a really big cloud. Yeah, so we've been organizing all this stuff. So I guess I can start I don't know if I call it like a day-to-day, or if I call it like a new album.
Call it like day in the life or something.
Okay, so I'll call it like a day in the life. So view all albums.
Yeah. And just literally set up your camera, pointing at your face. You don't have to talk to the camera or look at it or pose or do anything, and just record yourself like 10, 20 minutes, depending on your memory that's left on your phone, and just put it all in there. And yeah, it can be used for like loads of stuff.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want more access to some of these here, just in case you need it. So I gave you access to reels and social posts.
Okay.
You do not need access to all of Yvonne's face. This was, I created this just to organize it, but bonus the video vault. And then ad promo marketing videos. You might want access to testimonials and wins. Because like anytime I try to just screenshot and then it's just a running list.
Yeah, that'd be handy.
Yeah, it's the easiest place that I load it in first. And then if I wanted to load it into like Google Drive, then I do that as well. So I can add you to this as well. Do you have Google Photos?
Yes, I don't use it personally though, just because I'm just lazy and can't be bothered. But Danny uses it quite a bit. So he's often like sending me stuff on there.
So you have Carly at Carly, is that the email you use?
Yeah, no, I can access it on there because that's like a Google work space,
Okay.
that email. So yeah, I can.
Okay. So I'll just add you to those. Okay, well, anyways, like I just wanted to share that with you because oh yeah, now before we, I guess this, oh wait, I did create it right, I think. Day in the life. Where's day in the life? Huh. Wait, where'd it go? Okay, day in the life. Maybe I can't create the album without putting at least one photo in it.
Mm.
So maybe I'll just put Trey's face in there. Okay, cool. So I should have a day in the life now. All right. Now let's, cool.
All right, so yeah, that's just kind of one idea just off the top of my head. So I mean, the things you said are valid. That's still like, it's not necessarily excuses, you're just kind of identifying the friction and the obstacles. Like sometimes it is going to be the case that your day is packed and you can't create sort of day in the life stuff, and you are still getting settled, like you literally just moved. I think if you can sort of make a plan of what kind of, if we can think of a plan of what kind of the bulk of your content you want it to look like, then you can make a decision on where in your life and house and space is going to be your recording area. So obviously we know you want to do YouTube videos. It's not necessary to have like some full recording studio.
Yeah.
Best practices is normally just like a plain background, that's all. And also you wouldn't want your camera sort of like this, so like I'm looking down at you. You want it kind of like here where you're looking directly into the person's eyes. And I think you've got a ring light already.
Yeah, the ring light sucks. It's a ring light that's attached to a cord and it's made for tripods. So when you try to attach it to like anything here, that's actually, I actually put that in the team meeting on, you know, if I need to buy like specifically like a desk loom light that like hangs over my monitors or something.
I mean, I'm not great at knowing which light's the best, but I know that ring lights are kind of not the bare minimum, but it's what most people sort of start with as a bare minimum. But yeah, I kind of don't have any expertise on what's best. I just know that you can get the ones that kind of attach to the monitor, or you basically want it wherever the camera is. Wherever the camera is, you want it kind of next to that. So I think that is kind of bare minimum. If you can't get a ring light sort of now, just natural daylight, but then you're limited with the times of day that you're going to be able to record. So a ring light is going to give you more flexibility with when you can record. And that's it really. So yeah, if we kind of consider the type of content you want to make most of, and then you can go from there in taking the steps that you need to take or want to take with, okay, where in the house or our space in the house is going to be my recording space. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so right, I'll ask you some questions now.
Yeah.
So in terms of because I know you kind of want to hone sort of how you address parents. So, and I know you kind of quite secure in who you are as a person and your values, but maybe sometimes you struggle to translate that into words to kind of share that with the world, and not knowing how far or to go with it or when to pull back. So that's the purpose of kind of these questions. So it's not necessarily like a survey where I'm going to give you like your type at the end. We just dig in just the same as we did before. So the first question is kind of big. I am going to take notes, but I'm not going to share my screen because I don't want what I write to influence what you say. So first of all, I want you to think about 3 people or characters that you admire, They can be alive or deceased, real or fictional, no ridiculous answers. But who are they and what is it that you admire about them? And you can just wax lyrical and go on any tangent you want.
3 characters that I admire.
Which I know is quite a big question.
Yeah. 3 characters I admire. One would be the guy that you don't really know, but he's one of the most famous. Good. He's one of the most famous basketball players in the world, along with like LeBron James, is Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry, big fan. I have his autographed jersey. He has 3 kids. He's a family man. He's a Christian, and he is the greatest shooter of all time. So he has actually broken multiple records already. So not only is he a good basketball player, but he's also a very nice person, a person that is that respects his fans and that like actually goes out of his ways for his fans. So he kind of emulates certain characteristics that I like basketball, obviously, but he also is not cocky. He also is very subservient to others. Everybody that plays with him knows that although he is, you know how some people, like when they're good athletes, they're really, really cocky. But he's not cocky, actually. He just lets, there's a term, like he lets the game come to him. He's very, very unselfish. He's all about the team. He doesn't care about his own statistics. He cares about just winning. So there's a lot of unselfishness about him, along with the fact that you can tell like he just really he really loves his kids, and you know, he kisses his kids every single game, and I like that about him. Yeah, and they always say like it's kind of easier to, especially for a person that's only 5'8", a 5'8" basketball player that has a son, you kind of relate more to people like Steph Curry, who is not that tall. He's actually kind of like, he kind of looks like a regular person, versus like look at somebody like Shaq or LeBron James, who is like a behemoth of a person. So you relate more to those types of people as well. And I just like the fact that he, you know, on a lot of his shoes, he writes what is that? I can do all things through him who gives me strength. So it's like a very famous Bible verse. So it's just, yeah, that's just a lot of characteristics I like about him. And also he's the same exact age as both of us. He's born in '88.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Person 2.
Person 2. Well, Steph Curry came off right away. So
I really struggle with this exercise.
Well, it doesn't have to be famous, right?
No, anybody, family, friends, famous, living, not living, fictional, yeah. Disney characters, anything.
Yeah, person number 2 is definitely my own dad, who I feel like a lot of my business savviness, even though I actually never learned anything from my dad, but I think there's certain like genetic components that he brought to me that because he passed when I was 19 years old, so I was just in college just doing my own thing. But I think, like, you know, the reason why I respect him so much is because people respected him a ton. He was revered. You know, there's not a lot of dads. A lot of dads can just be like a regular person in San Francisco. He was revered in San Francisco. People knew who Madison Wan was, and not for selfish reasons either. He was a person that was very giving. Every week, you know, like whenever he had a basketball team, he would like cook for his team, or like bring them food, because he loved cooking, which actually, you know, that actually might have caused his death too, because he loved all the really fatty foods, and he exposed me to all that. But he gave me everything that I wanted in life. You know, he didn't hold back. I wouldn't say that I was spoiled, but like whenever I needed basketball shoes, he gave me basketball shoes. Whenever I wanted, you know, like a certain game or a certain video game or something, you know, my family was always a family that never like held back or say, oh, you got to get good grades in order to get your video games. No, it was just like the way that they raised me was I was kind of just a person that felt like I always wanted to make them happy. So like I got good grades on my own, you know, and they just gave me what I needed. So I just going back to my dad, he was very revered. All the teams that he coached, they loved him. They considered him a like a second father, and he got the best out of people. He was somebody that he had a team of like only like people like around your height, Carly. So like 5'0", like a ton of people that were just short. They weren't tall. So obviously tall means something in basketball. But he got teams to like win championships with his tallest girl being like 5'5", and that's like super small. So he got the most out of his girls. He made them cry all the time too because of like how hard he pushed them, but he pushed people to such limits that he made them great. And that's what I really respect about him. Plus, although he's stubborn, same way like I'm stubborn, and that's what kind of got me, you know, at least to build out the business where it is. But his stubbornness kind of got him to a point where he is like he is a legend. He is an Asian basketball legend in San Francisco, and even people nowadays, you just throw out the name Matty One, and they probably know him. So, yeah, and what else about him? Yeah, he loved his wife. He wasn't as expressive as me, but you can tell that he really put his best foot forward with like, you know, making, you know, my mom feel very, very cared for. And yeah, that was him. Short on words, but could definitely yell just like me, had a very loud voice. Again, not as like expressive as me, but he definitely was a person that like put his emotions into everything, and I think that was what made him great.
Awesome. Okay. And person three?
Person three. I'm trying to think of somebody other than like just like your wife or mom kind of thing.
Yeah. Any authors or movie stars, or I find this exercise really hard.
Authors or movie stars? No, I don't really care much about authors. Movie stars. I watch a ton of movies.
On a bus once.
Huh?
Or someone you met on a bus once or in the park.
Yeah, that's really
anyone you've ever like, it doesn't matter how long you kind of knew them for, or if you knew them at all as a person, just anyone where you've had the feeling like, whoa, that was like a really great kind of person.
Mm. Well, yeah, there's a ton of movie stars.
Yeah, it can be even a character in a movie.
Yeah, I want to say, I mean, some of my favorite movie stars from back in the day are either people like, I don't know if you know Jackie Chan or,
of course,
or Adam Sandler.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Danny loves Adam Sandler.
Okay, so yeah. Well, if I were to think of like who I like, I just watched literally all his movies, no matter how bad or good they were, was probably just Adam Sandler. I don't know. I don't know why. I think his movies were, he was obviously a very funny guy. He was very personable. I think that everybody that worked with him on stage said that he's very personable and he's easy to work with. He's not like a cocky actor, very down to earth. And his movies, I don't know, it kind of hit all the right buttons. I mean, he came out with a movie called 50 First Dates. It's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I love that film.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know, like the movies that he came out with are like things that I went through. Like he went to Hawaii, and like we love Hawaii. So like he made a movie where he was in Hawaii with I'm forgetting her name right now, but
Barrymore?
Drew Barrymore. Yeah, so I mean, that movie, I watch it literally every single time it's on TV because it's in Hawaii. He seemed like a person that like kind of emulated a person that like, I don't care if you forget me every single day. I don't know if you saw that movie, but like,
Yeah, I did.
yeah, she forgot who he was every single day, yet he still loved her. I think that was pretty cool. Just to like, there's not a movie kind of like that. There's not a movie that really emulates that at all. So that was kind of cool just to see that he always plays he often plays a father role. He's played many other roles obviously, but he played like a father role very very often. um I think one was called Big Daddy, and I think that kind of reminded me of my dad, how he kind of raised me, and he kind of like just like it was very chill. It wasn't very demanding on me, just like wanted just let me do whatever I wanted. And I think that's what Big Daddy was. He let his kid like dress up as Frankenstein to school. He like let him pee on a wall. So I don't know why he kind of like is a, if I were to pick an actor, he would probably be one of the ones I'm like, huh, that's kind of cool to see, or to be in his life, and to do some of the movie roles he did, because you can't really fit yourself into like the Rock Johnson. I can't play
Mhm.
like that type of hero character. But I
Mhm.
like how down to earth Adam Sandler is, and I guess he's very trustworthy, and he doesn't come off as a person that like it's like, oh yeah, I cannot be him. So yeah.
Okay. Um, I guess with Adam Sandler as well, like he doesn't take himself too seriously. Like he has done serious roles, but still he doesn't. He doesn't think he's like Daniel Day Lewis. He accepts who he is.
Also,
Okay.
he's actually never played the bad guy. Some guys, they
Yeah.
play good guy most of the time, and then they play bad
Did you
guy.
see the Netflix one recently? What's
Did
it
you play a
called?
bad guy?
It wasn't a bad guy. It was like questionable morals.
Oh.
But it wasn't a bad guy. But it was like a serious movie. Um, Something diamond. It was something to do with like dealing diamonds anyway. And
Mhm.
Danny really liked it. Um, okay, so the purpose of that exercise was kind of nothing to do with those people. It was about finding your core values, and your core values kind of show up in each of the people that you've mentioned. Despite you having to kind of dig for Adam Sandler, the core values are there still as well. So what I get from, I mean, I've made notes and we can dig into this further another time as well, but
Mhm.
what I get from like what you shared was like unconditional support and love is something that's very important to you. um Being humble about your abilities and achievements and using those for collective good instead of like just yourself, and caring about your family. Those are the kind of three main themes that I got from that. So how do you show up in what you put out into the world with those values? And do you show up in how you put out into the world with those values, or do you kind of hold them back a bit because it might be too much for people?
Yeah, I think I express my love for my family very often, at least in the form of words. Maybe not in the form of doing live trainings, or um, I think it's easier for me because you can kind of hide behind words. If I were to
Yes,
be perfectly honest, it's easier to hide behind words, so you can just be very very expressive. I've posted every
I
single
do that all
year.
the time.
Yeah, I posted every single year about my dad and his passing and his influence on me. But as far as like being able to translate that to a video, or me actually like uh having the balls to actually voice something, like actually put my face on camera and talk about it, or um because yeah, I mean, there's times where like you want to hold back because like I've gotten teary-eyed talking about my dad or talking about my son, and I've done that one time with like my own clients. But yeah, to be able to do that on camera, obviously it's like that's like a good step in the right direction because people appreciate um honesty, vulnerability. They trust you more when you seem like a person that's very open about their emotions. But yeah, I mean, as far as like translating that to like a real post, um, that's something that I don't really necessarily do. Let's see. I mean, we talked about family, unconditional support.
Yeah,
Um,
family, unconditional love. So it's not necessarily even just about how do you kind of directly talk about that, but how does that show up in sort of everything you do? Like, how does that show up in how you conduct yourself on a transformation session and what you see in that person when you're having a transformation session with them? And how does that show up when you're doing just a coaching call with somebody? How does that show up? Like, how do you live those values while you're working? It's easy to live the values when we shut down the laptop and go back to the family. It's not easy to bring that to every part of our day. Um, so how do you do or not do that, I guess? So yeah, we've got like love for family, unconditional support. Do you feel like you give unconditional support during your work time? And what was the other thing? There was another thing. Like humility and being humble and caring about the collective result rather than your own personal result.
yeah, I mean, I think that if I were to look at some of my past posts or how I talk sometimes, you fight yourself sometimes because you see a lot of the entrepreneurs and people like, oh, well, this is how you're supposed to market yourself. So, you always say the classic, like, I've helped hundreds of people escape chronic pain. And then to some degree, that's like, that sounds really cocky, right? It sounds kind of like, oh yeah, like, well, I know my stuff. Other people don't know their stuff, right? And I think we've had that type of voice expressed many times during our stints working together. And we
Yeah.
even created a lot of polarity and a lot of like, okay, well, like bash on this profession, bolster our profession. I've gotten a lot of like hateful comments about some of the posts that I've made, and I've definitely calmed that down, and I'm not going back down that route. And so yeah, there's a sense of, well, if we're talking about the three people that I just mentioned, it's like expecting, being humble and while still at the same time giving people the support and value that they need is is conflicting with maybe in your transformation sessions or in your post, like, oh yeah, well, like I've helped hundreds of clients, escape chronic pain and get back to what they love to do. Although, yeah, that creates a little bit of social proof, but to what expense, at the expense of maybe like who you identify with or who you want to become.
Mm. So
So
if Stephen Curry or Madison One or Adam Sandler was taking your transformation session, how would they sell the Pain Free Academy to somebody? Or if they were making some content for like a workshop or something, whereby we're going to sell something at the end of the workshop, what would that look like?
they would all do it differently. They're all they have similar characteristics like family, but they all have their own
Which
persona.
one do you think you would identify with most?
Probably less so Adam Sandler, because that one seemed like right, like I threw that one kind of in. I was just like, oh, that's a good actor. My dad, if you didn't know, which I haven't talked about, but my dad is a hardcore salesman, as in like not, I don't think not forceful, just he
Like an old school
almost
sales?
like the book, there was a book called like Influence. Do you remember that? Do you know that book? he
I
just
don't.
knew how to, or like persuasion. He knew
Right.
how to persuade the crap out of people. Whether it was because he was a really good insurance agent, so he sold people on insurance policies. Really good salesman. I saw it firsthand, like kind of like hanging around in his office, and he would just close people like boom, 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 boom. I saw him at flea markets. If you know what flea markets are, they're kind of like bargain
Yeah.
markets. And then he would just be like, he was like, oh, how much is that necklace? For me, he was like, he wanted a silver necklace, and I was like, oh, yeah, it's $40. And he was just like, oh, it's like, oh, like, I'm not too sure. It's like, like, look at the taint on this. Like, hey, like, look at this. It's like, hey, well, by the way, like, I just spent money on like this shrimp here. I really only have $25. And I'm like, and he's like, oh, sorry, we can't do it for that. Okay, that's fine, no worries. And then like he'll try to leave, and then like somehow the person will like walk back to him the way he put it and be like, oh, no, 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 so I'll sell it to you for 25. And I've never forgotten that. Like he got me like this like sterling silver necklace for like more almost 40% off. So
Danny's
I
very
don't,
good at that too.
he was just a person that if you were to name off like a person that like closed people and like sold people, that was my dad. He
Is
sold
that
people.
you?
Huh?
Is that you?
I think I think there's a genetic component to influence where I think I do have, I think me, besides my mom, who is not, we're like, if you were to look at our family of five, my mom is the only one that's not, my mom is not genetically attached to my dad,
Mm.
but all three of us are very good at influencing people. Like I influence you to some degree in
Yeah.
many different ways,
Yes.
as in I did close you to some degree on our sales call, but then we became friends and I really influenced you to like to
Yes.
exercise and to all those things. Uh, my oldest sister, she always gets her way at restaurants. She always gets her way at theme parks. She always gets her way at hotels. She has a way of like doing it in a nice way. She's very
Mm.
gentle spoken, but can lay down the hammer. And then Tiff is my middle sister, who's 4 years older. She's she's top 10% insurance agents in all of the Bay Area. So we're all very, to some degree, influential, and we can like get our way in some ways, in a good way, I guess, like for the purpose
Yeah.
of like helping somebody.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, going back to the sales call, yeah, I mean, I have some characteristics of my dad in terms of influencing people, but then, like by February, February was like 90% close rate. And then uh and then Steph Curry, the way he would do it is just like he's just like kind-hearted. I think he would just like kind of like laugh things off, just be like, hey, you want to work with us? But I think he comes from a standpoint of people respect him like crazy already. He is already trustworthy. I mean, he is known to billions of people around the world. So he could say anything. You could say he could be like, hey, I have a $3,000 basketball program. Want to do it? That's all he has to say, and people are probably like, yes, I want to buy it. I think he can put out literally any product in the world and sell. He can sell pancakes, and you're like, hey,
Could he sell that stuff if he wasn't world renowned? Just him as a person, Stephen Curry the person instead of Stephen Curry the enigma. Could he sell that stuff?
well, at some point when you do have influence and trust, and people are watching thousands of your videos and seeing you every day, there's already that sense of trust, right? So people trust me. Some people get on sales calls just be like, I've literally watched like 20 or 30 of your videos, and so you can kind of tell already like that's an easier influence, right? You already have power over that person, and that power in terms of influence. And I think that Steph Curry, regardless, I think would have some influence, regardless if he wasn't like the greatest basketball player of one of the greatest basketball players of all time, just because of the way he carries himself, like very humble. He's a Christian. He's a family man. He's relatable to people. He puts people first. He's very unselfish. So I think that when people, if you were to be like, hey, I have a coaching program, people would see that he would probably put a lot of his effort into it because he is unselfish. And yeah, he, like characteristics that maybe that person wants to emulate, they can see that in Curry.
So how do you, like, you listed all like a list of things there, which I would say, knowing you as a person, those are your values too.
Mhm.
So how do you, if you were to put like like a reel made by Jason Wan next to the same reel made by Stephen Curry, how on the same topic, how would they be different? Apart from the obvious being different people,
Um,
how would they feel different?
how would they be different? They may not be, they may not be that different. You know, I guess you are you tend to follow people or get influenced by people that either you already kind of see yourself in or that you want to become, right? So I
Yeah.
follow Steph Curry like crazy because I pride myself in shooting the basketball very, very good. I'm a very good shooter, right? I can put the ball in the basket better than some people on the court. So I kind of already put myself into his shoes. So to some degree, I already see some of my characteristics in him, as in like he's a father, he's a great shooter like myself, he's humble in some aspects, right? Um, he has that blend of humility, having fun while playing basketball. Some people, like, they're on the basketball, they take it too seriously. He has fun, and he's great in his own way, right? He expresses greatness without being cocky about it.
And I
So
guess just like is kind of just joyful about just life in general instead of like, oh, I'm about to lose this basketball game.
yeah, and to some degree, like I there's certain things that, again, like there's two reasons why you would want to follow like a famous person like that. Either you already see some of those characteristics in yourself, or there's certain characteristics that you want out of that. And I think one thing that I do sometimes is I've been told by this by like dozens of people, is I take things too seriously sometimes. I can be very hard-headed. Um, and the other thing, which is like, I try to express humility. I mean, I even have humble on my tattoo
Okay.
to remind myself. I don't know if you've seen, like, actually, have I broke down this tattoo before?
No, I have seen it in like pictures.
Here's the Golden Gate Bridge.
Uh-huh.
Here's my basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Here's some waves and some, to because there's a lot of fog in San Francisco. And then it says, I am hungry, I am passionate, I am humble, and then I am yours.
Awesome.
So I'm hungry, as in like I am hungry to be the best version of myself and to have my influence on the world. I am passionate because that's kind of like rhetorical. I'm humble, which is actually a characteristic that I fight myself with, because actually growing up, I got better grades than everybody. PT school, I got better grades than everybody. Anatomy, I'm going off my cocky side. I was by far the best.
It's fine.
I was by far the best in anatomy. I taught my own classmates anatomy. So I've been told many times that, like, back in the day, I was like ridiculously cocky. And I think that's what brought some people to me, because people are like, oh, that attracts me because he's like he gets good grades and he's athletic. I've been told by that many times. And so a lot of that information got fed into me. I've been told that, like, I can eat more than everybody. That's a pride thing right there. I can eat more than every single person that nobody can beat me in terms of like eating contests. So there's a lot of like cockiness that I've had to like overcome and like steer away from, while still showing people the passion that I have for physical therapy without being too cocky about my own skill set.
Okay.
So if you were to differentiate Steph Curry, I think Steph he is great. He just lets his own actions display his greatness, versus I think I used to talk a lot about my own greatness.
Right.
And I try to tone that
Why?
down, since I've been told by my best friend and many other people about that type of pompousness that can come out.
Why would you talk about it? The stuff that you're great at?
Because it always felt like I always had to prove myself.
Two.
That's a big thing in terms of like which you kind of know about, which was like I was really fat growing up. I got ridiculed a ton, so I had to prove myself and become more athletic than people, and always, and even till today, I always feel like I need to one up somebody. I always feel like I need to one up somebody. I always feel like I need to be ahead of somebody, which is not always needed.
Because if you, there's the danger that if you lose that position of being ahead of somebody, there's the risk of slipping back to that time in your head. Or maybe at a cellular level, that's kind of what pushes you to, I have to be ahead of somebody, because if I don't, the reality will be as it was before.
Yeah, at a cellular subconscious level, and it's not even subconscious. I do become aware of it after I make a mistake of like, oh, I sounded cocky then. It was like, maybe it's my dad's influence of like how great he was, or maybe it was just the, the very torturous, depressing times of me getting ridiculed like a crazy amount. So much so that like I sat on a nasty toilet and ate my lunch in like a bathroom. That's how bad it got. So that is like a permanent stain on my mind where, okay, I literally proved all you guys wrong. I became one of the fastest kids in the city. I became skinnier and stronger than every single one of the people that made fun of me back in the day. And it's almost like, aha, I got you, right? So it's almost like, and I can talk to them now. I still keep in touch with some of them now, and they're just like, oh yeah, Jay, it's like you're welcome for me making fun of you. Now look at you now, right? They actually kind of like make fun of the situation, but till this day, I still feel like whether I'm driving, I need to drive faster than people. Whether I'm like in the gym, I need to lift heavier than people. There's that sense of like always needing to be ahead of every single person, which I need to always fight myself about, because literally on my tattoo, it's like one of the words is humble, and it's one of the words that like I want to become that.
What do you lose by not being humble?
Influence. You lose people's trust when you're too cocky. And actions speak much louder than words. So the words in your captions, whether you say I've helped hundreds of people, or the words that you use as far as like you speaking to somebody that wants to do your program, you're just like, yeah, these are my credentials, this is my experience, this is the amount of people that I helped do my program. That doesn't develop trust, right? What develops trust is your actions. People don't buy your program, they buy you. They buy you because they trust you as a person, and they want, and again, the people that want to become you in some ways, or want to steal some of your characteristics or steal some of the knowledge that you have, is a product of your actions rather than the words that you put, in captions or that you say on a sales call. And I know that 100% too.
So, I mean, that's a great line that you just, people want to steal some of your characteristics and knowledge. And I think there was quite a long period where you'd read some stuff and seen some stuff and were advised away from sharing your knowledge freely, because, well, marketers don't do that, because then you're giving away stuff for free. I think that's a good place to kind of stake the flag and start again, because, well, just from like anecdotal evidence, that's why I trusted you, because you were sharing a shitload of stuff that I would never have ever had access to otherwise about knee pain. And that's what made me want to speak to you and reach out to you, because this was mind blowing to me. And I don't think I'm getting ahead of myself to guess that that would be the case for a lot of other people as well. And the other side is, you could literally share every single word that you have ever been taught in your professional capacity, and still people would want to work with you, because one, they don't have the brain capacity to retain all that information and they will forget. And two, they don't trust themselves to do it alone. And three, they're like, well, this guy obviously knows everything about everything. I want to work with him. This other person is trying to sell me 20% off whey protein or something. And it's a massive, massive difference. So I think, just thinking out loud, I think if you do start veering down more deep education again, and the kind of things, I think there's a way that we can share that kind of deep education that you do on, say, like a PFA coaching call in a condensed and sort of excerpted and clipped way on your socials, without doing a disservice to people who've sort of paid for the full work. I think that's a great place to start with the new kind of direction. What were you going to say? Sorry.
No, I mean, at the same time, let me make sure so I don't forget. There's 2 points that I want to hit on. The difference between somebody that's in the PFA, even if I give away all that content, is they have me guiding them or a coach guiding them.
Exactly.
Half the battle is accountability, right? So you can have all the knowledge in the world, but how many people save exercises, save the knowledge, read my Instagram posts over and over again, and actually like take it, right? Like even one of my friends that I talked to, I told you I talked to this guy named Max Lowry every single month, which we both have our own business. Both he has his own influence, I have my own influence, and he even says like, yeah, it's like, honestly, if people went to my Facebook group and actually did every single one of my Facebook video trainings, they could figure out weight loss for themselves.
Yeah.
And he's just like, but they don't. they don't take the time. All the knowledge is there, but what they really need is somebody to tell them, do XYZ.
The only kind of people who would actually do that is people like you and me, who have that kind of natural tendency to want to learn everything.
Yeah.
That is not the norm for most people. Most people don't want to learn everything. They just want to be told what to do. So even if there is the odd 1 or 2 people who do that, it's fine, because there's going to be like 95% of the people who don't do that. So I think like a good motto to sort of have is give it them all. Give away everything you know, and that you will build better. That covers like your trustworthiness, that covers your humility, because you're not guarded about this education because you want to change the world with it, so why wouldn't you give it away? And kind of that unconditional support as well. You trust this person to use this education to better themselves, and you want them to better themselves. If they want to take the next step and do that with you, then fantastic. But from your kind of vision point of view, you want to unconditionally support these people to take their own steps up, and that is a great starting point to do that. Would you agree?
I think so. I think it'll be a little bit easier for me to not think of content where I want to like hit their pain points and then not give them like the full information that they need. And
we can put it into like a more structured plan as well, because we still have to kind of get people's buy-in to get into our audience. We can put this into a structured way where we're still getting people's details so we can speak to them on email and stuff as well. We've got the Facebook group to do that in. We could even kind of gatekeep the Facebook group behind like an email wall if we wanted to still get people's emails. There's tons of ways we can do it. So yeah, I think that probably sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, it sounds like a good plan. And to be able to, I guess it's almost like for where the direction we're headed, I think what am I trying to get at? The types of content that I want to put out, it's almost like there's an extensive variety of things, and it's just like it's like building out structure, or I don't know if it's more structure or just like building out like 5 days in advance, like this is what I'm going to do, right? So because you want to hit on some of the people that just want simple tips. Like I just thought of some things like that I thought were so simple, but it was just like change somebody's life. Like literally like how to crack your back on a foam roll.
Yeah.
That's extremely valuable to people.
You have the curse of knowledge because you think, well, that's simple. But to me as a layperson, obviously I know now, but me before I met you, I wouldn't have done that. What if I break my spine? What if I damage my spinal cord doing that? I'm not going to do that. That's scary. Yeah. But that's simple. That's something like literally life-changing. That is really simple. Yeah.
Yeah. So putting out like little tips. I mean, I feel like I want to like categorize so that, or I don't know, we want to break that down now in terms of like categories. Yeah. Like, I think we should hit on like small categories, and it doesn't have to be like, I think like the structured categories that we had before, because we're kind of taking like a slightly different direction. But I think the categories we had before was like, you know, Tuesday, testimonial Tuesday, right? Wisdom Wednesday. And that was like a quote. Monday is like Monday movement, right? So like movement of the day. I think we should break it down into like what people from the perspective of Carly Brown that never met me, what would she benefit from? Right. And putting it back in your eyes on if you just met Flex Dr. J, if you just met Steph Curry, what would gain your trust the fastest? Yeah. So I don't know where to write this out actually. Maybe I put on my Trello board. I don't know.
Where am I? I can share my screen. I'm just taking some kind of brain dump notes.
Okay.
But now I have to open it on here. So give me 1 second and I'll find it.
So we can both come to agreement on some of the, not even like topics, more so just like general principles. This is the type of content you're going to build out like today.
Yeah. And like whenever you get kind of stuck, you can just run it through the filter of those values. Like, okay, I don't actually know what to talk, or if you find yourself slipping back into kind of old ways of talking and that sort of testimonially type way of talking, you can run it through those filters. Okay, is this giving people everything? Is it giving them unconditional support? Is it showing love for my family? Is it being humble with my knowledge?
Yeah, so maybe we can create a doc that will ask me those questions so that I
it's like your SOP for content.
It preempts me for the copy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so wait, did you share your doc?
I'm just trying to sign into my Google. I'm writing on there and I'm trying to open it on here. Okay, I'm into my Drive now. Let me just open. It's really slow, sorry. I'll put it on the brain dump doc and then I'll put it into like a better document for you to use.
Okay.
Where is it?
So I think
there it is.
I think there's a content that I find like that will be pretty easy to make, which is like one simple tip.
One simple tip.
Yeah, one simple tip, or like even like one simple tip / exercise. So if you can write that down, because that's actually, that content's less that's easier to digest for you, but it's also easier for me to create. So it goes both ways. Like how to crack your back. Or challenge, see if you can do this exercise, right? Try this exercise, see how it feels.
Am I sharing the right screen? Yes. So I am here and it's not quite today. I guess I could type on here now. Categories of giving away everything. So let's have, let me close that down on there. I think it's slow because I'm on Drive across 2 laptops. So one simple tip / exercise.
Then obviously there's probably one like maybe like a day in the life reel, but that day in the life reel most likely probably hits on probably hits on a little bit of the things we talked about, like whether it's like family or day in the life. It's like, well, look at me, I do 10 pull-ups before breakfast, right? So
Yeah.
it kind of just, you know, and people will kind of
Lots
relate to that
possible.
characteristic.
Yeah. And busy.
Oh yeah, busy entrepreneur or like busy parent kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
those are some of the ones I guess maybe should we still say like, oh yeah, like characteristics or not characteristics, you know, like 3, like the carousels. So like 3 exercises. So I think those
yeah,
still,
I think those are quite effective.
those still do pretty well. So carousels or like, you know, like anywhere between 3 to 10 exercises. Those get a lot of saves and a lot of
And
people.
we can repurpose them a lot as well.
Yeah. Well, the 3 to 10 carousel thing is it's good because it gets repurposed into my Trainerize so that other people, all my clients can use it.
So giving away everything, I guess maybe I'm just trying to think what would have helped me. Probably common misconceptions with like various ailments and body parts.
I was going to say that's kind of like what I was going to get at, which was like either common misconceptions, like you said, or addressing people's beliefs.
Yeah.
Or what did Vanessa Lau call it? Oh, she
Beliefs.
called it, I think she called it like changing beliefs.
Or limiting beliefs, maybe.
Or limiting beliefs.
Addressing limiting beliefs. Do you feel confident that you have a full picture of what people's limiting beliefs are?
Yeah, I guess there's a difference between addressing limiting beliefs, because I think that's different what you just wrote, right? Like addressing limiting beliefs, meaning like Carly's fearful, but hey, you know, if you just started squatting now, you might get better, right? And then common misconceptions is like, oh, you think that posture is going to fix your back pain when it's not. Like posture doesn't do anything for you. So I think they're like kind of separate, right? One's misconceptions, one's like, Carly, you can do this. You are resilient, right? It's like talking up people. So one's like empowering versus one's like, oh shit, I was wrong.
One is like kind of, this is psychological, right?
Yeah. And then maybe you can put in like quotes just for me, like, oh, I was wrong, or I was given different information. Also psychological, or like for that one, sorry, that's different. The addressing limited beliefs is more like psychological. Yeah, that one's like more like I was wrong, or like you getting your aha moment. And I think I probably hit on that so much that I think people got tired of it.
Misconceptions?
The misconception one I hit on tons of times. And addressing limited beliefs, like psychological, maybe to some degree, like empowering.
Yeah. Yeah, and like uplifting.
Yeah.
What
other kind of categories are there?
What would I have liked?
Well, there is just quotes. Like some of my quotes do pretty well or get shared. But I don't know, like that. I mean, quotes is literally anything, but I guess we could just put quotes on there.
Quotes used sparingly with stuff that really is kind of congruent to those values and beliefs that you hold deeply, instead of just stuff that's shareable. Do you know what I mean? Like, because you kind of see a quote, not you personally, Royal you'll see a quote and you think, I'm going to share that because I know loads of people are going to like it or share it because it's shareable. But sometimes you really have to dig for the quotes that really kind of are aligned with you as a person.
Well, yeah, look at the quote here that I wrote, which was like, it got shared a lot. It got shared a lot, plus it got liked. Actually, look at this. It said liked by Carly Brown.
Yes.
It says physical therapy without weight training is like using dial-up internet. It's slow, ineffective, and likely to crash many times until you decide to upgrade. Yeah. And I thought hard about that one. The ones I don't think hard of don't do as good. But that one I was like, oh, that was a good analogy. And then it like hit home for tons of people.
And the one where you were saying that you were a fraud as well, that was kind of like similar.
The fraud one was also did really,
It
really
kind
well
of
too.
slaps people in the face, like, oh, okay, like reality checks.
Yeah.
What would have been good for me? I just back then I was really convinced. Well, no, I actually wasn't convinced, else I wouldn't have looked. And maybe that's something that you can dig at. Probably 80% of me thought that that was kind of the end of my mobility. I didn't even call it mobility. I didn't realize that was the name for it. I thought that was the end of me being able to get down on the floor or walk at all at the age of 30. And I was depressed about it because, like, what 30-year-old can't walk? And yeah, it was kind of consuming. It's starting to consume. Well, it did consume all of my life because, like, it consumes everything you do. But then there was that little spark inside me that knew there was another way, but I just didn't know which way. But I knew that couldn't be it. I didn't believe that was it inside. And so that's why I started searching, and then I found you, and you kind of confirmed that. And so maybe you can speak to that in people, that, oh, if you are kind of searching for this, then there is a part of you that believes it's possible, and kind of just expanding that for them and making them believe it even more.
So is that addressing limiting beliefs?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like empowering. And I'm going to put speaking to people's tiny flame, if you know what I mean by that. Yep. So there's like a tiny part of them that believes, but most of them doesn't believe. Mm-hmm. I think, like, how do you feel about that, about this list? Do you feel like armed with kind of a plan?
You can also put under addressing limiting beliefs. Do you mind just putting again, like, what's possible?
Yeah.
Because what's possible day in the life, it's more like they're watching me just do something. But what's possible for other people, it's like, you know, you think that you're this fragile version of yourself, which I put it many times.
What would be really useful to see, but it's really hard for you to get, is before and afters of client movement that you've worked with. Like, I would be willing to send my before and afters, because I actually have video of when I started going to the gym and squatting and compared with now. And it's not for like weight loss purposes, but for movement purposes. If you could possibly get hold of any more of that, that would be like gold dust.
Did I show you the client that canceled with you, Anshul?
No.
I should show you. 1 second, and I'll share.
Should I stop sharing?
Yeah, I'll stop sharing for now. But you can send me your stuff, because definitely you started off with, like, you know, obviously super lightweight, and then now you're able to lift like your body weight now.
I lift over my body weight.
I know. So he sent me this.
Tomorrow. You must break the pattern today, or the loop will...
Okay.
Break the pattern today, or the loop will repeat tomorrow.
So he's like
working with you.
Yeah, he took those pictures before working with me, and then I suggested to him like stop being fragile, because he was always like, dude, my shoulders feel like they're about to fall apart. And then I got him back to like weight training, because he was doing like super heavy weights 3 years ago. And then I got him back to lifting heavy, got him on creatine, got him on protein. I kind of created not like a nutrition plan, but I gave him like, you got to eat more of this, you got to do more of this, you got to sleep more, you got to like stop doing chicken weights, because you're like, I was like, dude, you're 10 years younger than me, so like stop making excuses. And then he just sucked it up, and he just started lifting. And that's a direct result of like around 3 months later.
Yeah, men are so annoying, because you can make transformations so quickly compared to us. like physically. That if he'd be like happy, I mean, he shared that himself publicly. So if he'd be happy for you to share that kind of stuff. I mean, the only thing I'm thinking with that is because he is younger, it maybe doesn't speak as much to parents, but it's still useful for people to see what's possible. I think my first video I was probably doing about 50 kilos or 55, and my most recent one is 85, and I deadlift 90 kilograms now, and I weigh 55. So yeah, just stuff like that, just so people can physically see with their own eyes, because they look at you doing stuff and you talk about your history, but they only see today they can't see you lifting when you were like 14. So it's really just quite powerful for people to see that with their own eyes. Yeah, so if you could, like, I don't know how to kind of advise you go about that, but I don't know, if you get a new client and they're really quite like just really into it, sort of like Kelly type, maybe Francis type, and just saying, oh, would you mind send me a video of your lifting or whatever they're doing. Would you mind me like keeping this to show you in 3 months so we can see your improvement? Send me another video in 3 months. They send you a video. Would you mind me sharing this on my Instagram, because this is amazing transformation that you've made? So that'd be useful. I'll make a note of that. Getting before and after movement. What do we call it? UGC. It's called user generated content. I've called it UGC.
We just need to be able to consolidate it somewhere.
Yes.
Like I don't know, we have like a, technically like a before folder or transformations. The only place that I really include these like kind of transformations, obviously I like screenshot people's wins and I just put that into a folder. Then I have the client activity tracker, and one of the tabs is like testimonials. So if like Leslie wrote a really nice testimonial for me, I just saved her Facebook link so that I can always go back to that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, we have like, a folder where if I ask somebody for somebody's movement, or like somebody had limited shoulder mobility and all of a sudden now they can go like further back. How would we categorize that, or where would we put that?
Because you have to kind of store it safely as well, because really, like, the rest of the company shouldn't have access to that until that person gives you permission to share it. So do you have any kind of locked down folders? I guess you don't. The only thing I can think to do is have the folder outside of the team drive and have it in your like personal drive, and then once they've given that permission to share it, then we can move it to like one of the team drive folders for archive purposes.
Well, can you block, or can you just not make it shareable? Because let's see, if I click 5-day challenge testimonials, oh yeah, I can remove people. So I can remove people from the list of certain folders.
So if you like remove me from something that I don't need access to, and then send me the link to it on Slack, and I'll double check that I can't access it, and then we can do it that way.
I think so. So I should put under the client folder, and then just be like, what should I call this? Folder. It's like before and after transformations, client transformations.
Yeah.
And we'll just name it like as like a certain date with their name or something. That would be like a standard. And if I share and see, I can remove carlinebrown88@gmail.com.
Yes.
And I'll remove Carly B as well.
Yeah.
Because you have immediate access to the entire team drive. That's why you're already up here. Remove. And then copy link. Here, let me just share with you on chat and see if you could access it.
Why won't it let me click? Okay, I'll have to literally put it in. Oh, it's opening. It wasn't clicking for ages, but it's opening now. Let me see. It wants me to sign in. What I'll do, because it's trying to get me to sign in on my Flex account. There we go. Access denied.
Okay.
Cool. That works.
Yep, that works.
I will try and dig through my cat gallery and find that original first squat photo video. I might even have one with just the bar as well. I think I do have one with just the bar. And then I'll send you my most recent.
Yeah, I'm giving you access back to the before and after.
Cool. I'll put it in there. Okay, so we're kind of at 5:30, but unless you have to dash off, we can briefly talk about, because you said about you're kind of still finding your way with how you tone what you write. I was wondering if we have a look at, just a quick look at maybe a couple of Facebook posts that, because I know you kind of repurpose your stuff across Facebook and Instagram anyway. A couple of Facebook posts that you feel are kind of like really you, and some that kind of aren't so you. I read a couple that you wrote recently where I actually thought you didn't write it because it didn't sound like how you normally write. And I actually thought someone else wrote it, and I was starting to panic thinking, because you brought someone on board and I don't know who they are. But I think maybe you just wrote it on the fly. Why can't I search on here? Oh, there it is. And yeah, it didn't kind of sound like you at all. So I thought we could have a quick look at some of those, just so you could kind of tell me which ones you feel are most you.
Yep.
These ones are really quick, I know, but it's more so the kind of thought pieces. Like this, I didn't think this sounded much like you. Did you write this on the fly?
I wrote it on the fly.
Is that why? Do you think this sounds like you?
Most kids will love either option. Turns out kids love. Well, I mean, it's something that I thought that that I do already. So I thought that I was just writing. I was writing strictly from, maybe what I do is like I write it, but I don't say it out loud. And I think that's what I've been told a lot from like other from YouTube videos and other trainings. They're like, hey, like once you write it, maybe let it sit, especially if it's a longer piece. If it's a short piece like this, then just say it out loud and see if it sounds more relatable. So I mean, I straight up wrote this from, what would you say, the heart?
Yeah.
I wrote it in a way where I was just like, this kind of sounds like me. Just give somebody some quick tips, just so to provide more value. Obviously, it got like 19 people to click on it. But maybe it doesn't sound exactly me.
A bad way to write, by the way, and I'm not saying don't write like that. I'm just saying that maybe stop and read it, because you don't normally write like that. So do you think, like, if this is how you want to write, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, I just wanted to point it out. But yeah, if you like, would you speak like this to somebody?
Instead of letting your kids watch TV for entertainment, take them to the park or do a daughter-son workout together. Most kids will love either option. Turns out kids love swing slides. I mean, I guess it's to some degree it sounds more monotonous instead of like, oh, I'm talking to somebody.
I think that's what I was getting from it. It sounded a bit like you got it from somewhere else. And then so this is like a completely different style to that quick tip.
Yeah, I spent time writing this one.
So this is like, just if somebody held a gun to my head, this is what I would say. This is how Jason writes. do you think this one is like really coming from those 3 values? Do you think this post inhabits those 3 values?
I would probably say so. If you were to talk about family and conditional support, and I forget what the other theme was, but just, I guess,
Humility.
and I guess just showing people that that it's common to struggle as a parent, but I had to, all those
Yeah,
check
this
marks,
is super humble. Yeah.
relearn all those things. Then I guess, yeah, this is kind of like and obviously it took more time, but like I think maybe this was the right way to write it.
That it took more time, was that kind of bad for you, or?
No, I think that, I mean, you would obviously want the ones that you spend more time on to get more engagement. I'm not sure what the engagement on this was. 11, that's
I
fine.
think you wrote this on Instagram as well.
I think so. I don't know if I posted this one onto Instagram.
I just think you do tend to write, what I notice is you tend to write more in those values when you do long form.
Mhm.
And when you do short form questions, that feels like fast paced, ticking things off the to-do list, Jason, which I know you kind of want to get away from it just in life in general. So I'm not necessarily prescribing stuff here. I just wanted to kind of look at it with you and see your thoughts on it too. This feels very Jason. I didn't watch this. This thing scares me.
There's a lot of clients that have neck pain, and
you have an angry face.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that one is. Yeah.
This again seems very you. So I feel like your comfort zone is kind of long form, like thought pieces. And I think that's where you wanted to kind of aim for in becoming, like we talked ages ago about you becoming a thought leader, and that being kind of more than physical therapy, and encompassing well-being and all of the rest of it. And I feel like you can cover all of those things off in long form posts. Obviously the drawback to that is Instagram and Facebook doesn't always like long form posts, but at the same time, I don't think that should stop you doing them, because that's where you do your best work. I think if you combine your comfort zone way of talking and writing with the kind of 3 values, with the give away everything categories, then what you're doing will start to feel more congruent and maybe a little bit faster. So yeah, that's kind of my just thinking out loud thoughts at the moment. What I can do now is I can kind of condense all of this, is just like the brain dump of what we were talking about. I can condense this, I can make that kind of SOP for you, like content SOP. Write your thing and then run it through these filters. Does it cover one of these categories? Does it include your 3 values of being humble, unconditional support, and love for family? And the love for family, it doesn't have to be so obvious as you talking about your literal family. Sometimes you could just be talking about the topic of family and how that shows up in people's lives. So it doesn't always have to be so kind of literal as that. So yeah, is there anything else you wanted to add? I had some more questions down here in case we didn't dig deep enough, but I think we did pretty well with this. Is there anything else you wanted to say, or anything you wanted to put in place before we kind of make a structure of this?
No, I think this is I think
And
this is
has it
good.
been helpful as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good. All right.
It's just a matter
Okay.
of testing it now, because
Yes.
we obviously want to get more engagement.
Did the person delete all the bots already?
I think she's very smart at it. She's from India, but I think she knows how to manually remove followers slowly so that I don't get
Okay.
kicked off. So I
That's
think
good.
I'm at 17.3 thousand, and I think I was at 21K or something. So I think she has
Okay.
a little bit ways to go before it's all removed. I don't know. I mean, I think it probably is like, what's a good example? It's like somebody that doesn't eat for like a long period of time and they're like fasting. But when they're fasting, their metabolism slows, right? So they got to slowly ramp it back up with exercise and eating again. I feel like that's the same thing with my Instagram. It's like Instagram, it got kind of ruined with a bunch of bots and a bunch of like, Cheetos and ice cream. But then you remove that from your list, you lose the weight, so your metabolism slows, and then now you got to gain this metabolism back up. And I think that's exactly what this is, which I'm not getting the engagement I want just yet from like these types of posts, but I am trying to get down the route of like talking more to the parents, how active parents can take control of the pain, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I hope that we'll just continue to revamp slowly. And
I am doing the hashtag research for you as well, so that will help. So all of these things combined will hopefully meet at the crossroads and start to bear fruit. So yeah, I'm sure it will go in the right direction. Well, it is going in the right direction. So last thing, don't fear clutter in showing up on your posts. It's fine.
Well, there's literally clutter everywhere right now.
Yeah. I mean, this is Danny's office, and this is like full of junk as well. So it's fine. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. I'll get all that together and send you over what's necessary. What did I need you to do? I needed you to, if you can send me the recording when it's finally downloaded.
Yeah, can you just cut paste the category stuff? I want to post that.
I'll put it on Slack.
Yeah, put it on Slack, and then I will add to my brain dump to categorize. Oh no, not categorize. Send Carly recording. Do we have a folder for all this discovery stuff, or do we not have that?
Yeah, I've got a folder in mine.
Okay, then once I put up the YouTube link, you just add it to that then.
Yeah.
Discovery. Okay, cool.
Awesome. Well, I'll speak to you on Sunday. I'll speak to you in a bit, but then also on Sunday, which is Mother's Day, and I'm looking forward to my meal out.
And wait, I'm speaking to you on Sunday?
I'll speak to you on Slack, not in person.
Oh, got it. Oh yeah, one thing I sent to you was the needs assessment form.
Oh yeah, I did that.
Oh, you did some stuff already.
Yeah, I don't know if I did reply in the thread, so maybe you didn't see it. Did you want me to send that to her, or did you want to send it over? I've put in everything that we've got, basically.
Oh, did you finish the entire thing?
I think so. The only thing I kind of didn't really do, I didn't spend ages going through all your photos and saving photos. I sent her, we had a folder of photos that we gave to Edward when he was doing the website. And I added a few more photos to that of like you, because we don't have branded photos of you, we just have photos of you. So I just picked out the ones we use most often, and I just included those in that folder and added that folder and gave her lists like links to other resources that we use, all of the emails and everything like that. So yeah, I mean, you can have a quick look at it. I don't think there's anything you need to add to it really.
Yeah, maybe what I can do is I can throw to her, which I don't think she needs too much. I mean, I don't want to overload her, but I can send her
that's what I was thinking.
I can send her the photos.google.com
maybe
testimonial folder that I just showed you.
Yeah.
And then I'll just do that. And then maybe I should put on my ongoing list for Trello, because I have an ongoing board, which probably is like day in the life filming, and just have that as in like an ongoing thing.
Yeah. What are you doing next?
What am I doing next?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
today. What are you doing after this?
Oh, I had a 12 p.m., but she also canceled with you, right, Madeline?
Yes.
She had a stomach bug, so she was gonna do your interview. Plus, I had a 1 month reassessment with her, but she's doing fine. And then I have a, what do I have? I have a 2 p.m. Oh, the 1 p.m. is the one that said, oh, I have to exercise at 1
Okay.
p.m.
So you suddenly got like a block of space now.
Yeah, and then now I have a 2 p.m. and then I have two coaching calls right after back to back. So like 3:15 and then 4:15.
So maybe you could spend it like half an hour or an hour looking at different camera positions now, and then you could do a couple of day in the life things for the rest of the day.
So I should just do some day in the life filming, just like put my
Yeah.
tripod in different places.
Just stick it up. Yeah.
Okay. I'll start filming some stuff right now then.
Cool.
Just to like not delay this anymore, procrastinate.
Just do it. Yeah.
I'm just gonna put it off.
It's like when you're scared of when you're scared of the ocean, you still have to get your feet wet and just do it. Yeah.
Yep. I'll probably even do some squats with like tray in my hand right now or something and have my mom film
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. Appreciate this. This was helpful. And yeah, let's keep pushing forward.
Mhm.
Okay.
Awesome.
Oh, wait. Loomlight.
Moonlight.
Should I grab a
Oh, the
light
ring
that I don't know what kind of light to grab.
If you go on, listen, if you're going to be like, if you're committing to making YouTube videos, you might as well invest in a decent one.
Mhm.
Instead of like getting the $20 ones and seeing how it goes. I'm not saying buy one for like $1,000. If you just go on YouTube and just search for kind of any big influencer, they will have a video on their camera setup, and they'll have like some really expensive Nikon camera, and it'll tell you what ring light they use, and just get those. If it's like a decent price, like under $100 or something, just go on YouTube and just look for a video, my filming setup, my recording setup, and just get whatever they say on there.
I mean, there's
because you know it's going to be decent.
There's thousands of people that I just looked it up. Best lighting for YouTube videos under $150, or top 5 best lighting equipment for YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'll look at this one later. I'm gonna just save this blog post.
Put it on your Trello. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put it on my Trello. Okay. All right. See you soon, Carly.
See you later. Take care.
Bye.